What's up guys, CJ here and welcome back to another all-new Game of Thrones video. Continuing from Monday's video breaking down and recapping Jon's journey throughout the show, I figured we'd take a look at another fan-favorite character, Daenerys Targaryen. Daenerys has one of the most interesting backstories and character arcs in the whole saga, and outside of maybe spending a little too much time in Meereen, letting the rest of the plots get where they needed to be, her arc has consistently been the most gripping in my opinion. When we first find Daenerys, she's a young teenaged girl. One of the last two Targaryen heirs, her and her brother Viserys have been on the run their entire lives. Born after the death of her father Aerys and her brother Rhaegar, it's literally the only life she's ever known. Propped up by friends of the regime in the various free cities of Essos, her arc mostly takes place across the Narrow Sea, separate from the rest of the goings-on in the Seven Kingdoms. Her brother, who would do anything to get his throne back, marries off his sister to Khal Drogo, a Dothraki warlord with a large army, in exchange for Drogo's support in taking the Iron Throne. This new arrangement takes some getting used to for Daenerys. Eventually, she falls in love with Drogo, becoming pregnant with their child, and essentially enjoying life as the Khaleesi, or queen of his Khalasar, especially after Drogo kills the abusive Viserys. Unfortunately for Dany, this happiness doesn't last. Drogo falls ill after being wounded in battle and soon is essentially on the verge of death. She urges a witch traveling with them to save the Khal, but this comes at a steep price, as she loses their child in the ritual, and ultimately it was for nothing, as Drogo survives, but he's in a comatose state. With the Khalasar now having abandoned her, Daenerys prepares to commit suicide in Drogo's funeral pyre, taking with her the 3 dormant dragon eggs given to her as a wedding gift. To her surprise, she survives the fire unscathed, and the eggs hatch into 3 dragons, the first seen in centuries. Despite this development, Daenerys and the few that still follow her are in dire need of help, essentially wandering the desert. Eventually they come across the city of Qarth and take refuge. Caught up in various political plots, including the theft of her dragons and attempted murder at the hands of warlocks, she manages to survive the city, scrounging enough money to travel to the next one. That city is Astapor, where she links up with one of her father's old Kingsguard, Sir Barristan Selmy, and buys an army of 8,000 unsullied, elite slave soldiers, freeing them and then ordering them to kill their masters and earning a reputation as the breaker of chains. Marching on yet another city, Yunkai, she adds even more to her army in the form of Daario Naharis and the Second Sons, a 2,000-man strong mercenary group originally hired to assassinate her. Taking Yunkai and freeing their slaves, she marches on another city, Meereen, with this newly large army. After successfully starting a slave revolt and taking the city, Daenerys learns that Yunkai almost immediately returned to slavery, and Astapor is now ruled by a ruthless dictatorial butcher, so she makes a surprising decision and stays in Meereen to get more ruling experience. Unfortunately, this comes with multiple challenges, from hundreds of petitions from subjects, her growing dragons roasting sheep and sometimes accidentally children, and the Sons of the Harpy, a slave master conspiracy, rebelling against her. She also has to exile Ser Jorah Mormont, one of her most trusted advisors, for his recently discovered role in spying on her for Varys and King Robert in the days right after she had married Khal Drogo. Eventually, that rebellion I mentioned claims one of her Queen's Guard, Sir Barristan Selmy. In an attempt to ease the tense situation, she orders Meereen's famous fighting pits reopened, but this turns out to be a double-edged sword in a couple of ways. First, it sees the return of Jorah Mormont, who she of course had exiled, but came back and won the fighting pits with a new friend, Tyrion Lannister, who quickly becomes one of the Queen's most trusted advisors. Secondly, the fighting pits were also a trap. The Sons of the Harpy attack and slaughter many of the spectators, and attempt to kill Daenerys too, but she escapes on the back of one of her dragons, Drogon, and gets away temporarily. When she lands, she's kidnapped by who else but more Dothraki. The Horse Lords take her prisoner, and upon learning that she's Drogo's widow, take her to the ancient city of Vaes Dothrak. There, she will join the Dosh Khaleen, the wise council that rules the city, made up of the widows of fallen Khals. But of course that is not what Daenerys is gonna do, so working with Jorah and Daario, who have finally located her, she traps the Khals inside the city's central temple and lights it on fire, killing them all. Emerging unburned, as she has a tendency to do, the assembled Khalasars, made up of thousands of Dothraki, all pledge their allegiance to her, giving her a newly formed, even more massive army. Returning to Meereen, she finds it besieged by the Masters, so using her dragons, she quickly puts an end to that by destroying their ships. Meanwhile, Daario and her new Khalasar smash the Sons of the Harpy, killing many of the conspiring Masters. And now her attentions turn towards the Seven Kingdoms. How will she cross the Narrow Sea? Well, that's where the Greyjoys come in. Theon and his sister Yara come to seek an alliance with the Queen. Yara will give Daenerys 100 ships, and in exchange, Daenerys supports Yara as ruler of the Ironborn. With the deal made and leaving Daario behind to guide Meereen towards choosing a new ruler, 6 seasons after the start of her journey, Daenerys finally sails to Westeros to try and reclaim her family's throne. Season 7 is going to be incredibly interesting, as we essentially have 2 new players entering the battle for the Iron Throne late in the game, right when the Lannisters were the only family really left standing. In one corner, of course, we have Jon as king in the north, and sailing from the east, Daenerys is finally making moves with a massive army and fleet to match. Of course, the foible about Daenerys and Jon technically being related is an interesting one. As Rhaegar's sister, Daenerys is Jon's aunt, but technically he's the true heir to the throne as Rhaegar's son. Something tells me Dany is not gonna take that lying down, but who knows, there's always the chance they do the old Targaryen thing and get married, but I'm not sure audiences would love that, so I don't think they're actually gonna do that. Anyways, on that note, that's gonna do it for me here. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to smash that like if you like what you saw, subscribe for more great content every single day, and consider turning on your notifications to be alerted every time we upload a new video. And let us know in the comment section down below who you'd like to see broken down next. Signing off, this is CJ, and I'll see you next time.